his heaviest, Ricky Naputi weighed an estimated 900 pounds, nearly 65 stone. Super obese, he was among the world's fattest men. Now he's fighting for his life. Ricky lives on Guam, a paradise island in the Pacific Ocean. But for the last 5 years, he's been a prisoner in this room. Ricky and wife Cheryl know that unless he gets the medical help he desperately needs, he will die.
I'm so depressed. Every single day I can't even get up and walk, I can't even shower, I can't even do nothing for myself.
Addicted to food, can Ricky find a way to lose weight before it's too late? Ricky and Cheryl live in a small rented apartment on the east side of Guam. The ocean may be just a half-mile away, but it's years since Ricky's seen it.
The last time I actually got out and enjoyed myself was 7 years ago. I miss feeling the sun in my face, miss showering, feeling that water, run down my body.
Ricky spends all day in bed. He can do virtually nothing for himself. His wife Cheryl shops and cooks for him. She helps him to go to the toilet and cleans up the mess after him. She washes and powders him. She tends to his every need. It is a labor of love.
It's just like taking care of an overgrown baby.
This is how incapable Ricky has become. It's embarrassing for him and not much fun for Cheryl. But it's a measure of the bond between Ricky and his wife.
Not a headrest.
They desperately want to have children, but with Ricky the size he is, it's a physical impossibility.
I'm a born-again virgin, 6 years long.
Yeah, we haven't consummated our marriage.
We haven't consummated our marriage the correct way. If God permits that Ricky and I were to have a family, then that's good for us.
I just want to have one and no one and feel that love, that...
You're sick.
I really want a kid.
Ricky once consumed an estimated 10,000 calories every day, 4 times the healthy intake. Even now, he just can't say no to his favorite food.
Rice, chicken, ginger, onions. It's delicious. If it's delicious, it's not good for me. This is Filipino-style lumpia. And this is shish kebab. Well, it's missing the vegetables. But I tell you what, I'll probably end up eating this. And then after I'm done, I'm gonna feel disgusted.
Am I afraid that one day he will leave me? Eternally? Yeah. I would be devastated. Because he is my life. My world revolves around my husband.
Ricky has now exhausted medical help on Guam. Stranded in his bed and unable to lose weight, he will die unless something is done. In desperation, Ricky has tracked down through the internet someone he thinks can help him. Over 7,000 miles away, Houston, Texas, one of America's most overweight states. It's home to Angie Flores. She lost 180 pounds, more than 12.5 stone, when she had gastric surgery 9 years ago. Now she's an advocate for other patients going through the same operation. Ricky sent Angie an impassioned email pleading for help.
Dear Angie Flores, my name is Ricky. I reside in the island of Guam. I'm 36 years old. I suffer from morbid obesity. My weight now, I think, is nearly 900 pounds. Everything I have to do, I do from bed. Thank you for taking the time to hear my plea. I felt hopeless for Ricky. I knew he was in a desperate situation. My first thought was, I've got lots of doctors here. I'll bring you over here.
There's no shortage of obesity specialists in Houston. Angie's recruited one of them.
Wow, he's quite large.
Dr. Duke Fwong has 6 years' experience with obese patients.
Ricky needs help with his weight, and if he doesn't get that help, his risk of dying is really high. And for patients that are super obese, the best method for weight loss is weight loss surgery.
That surgery would remove 80% of Ricky's stomach, an operation he can't get on Guam. He would eat less and hormone changes would suppress his appetite.
No.
Hey,
Hi, Angie.
how are you?
But there's a catch. Angie knows from experience that Ricky will have to lose weight before surgery. She calls to break the news to him.
I can't do it by myself. I can't do it only with my wife. It's hard.
I know, Ricky.
It's hard, Angie.
I know, but I need you to be strong through this with me, Ricky, and I will see you soon, okay?
Ricky's reaction to trying to lose weight on his own is so desperate that Angie has decided to go to Guam herself.
Doing good?
Yeah.
We've got to figure out what it is that we have to do to make you healthy.
To get Ricky healthy, it's important to know precisely what he weighs now. Angie has brought a set of specialist scales with her from Texas. It's not going to be easy. 775 pounds, just over 55 stone. But that's probably still way too much for surgery to be safe.
We still have got to bring down your weight by at least 75 to 100 more pounds. 75 pounds is not that much weight for a person of your size to lose. We can do it. You can be walking in a year, walking outside that door by yourself.
Angie knows that one important route to Ricky losing weight is Cheryl. She buys the food and does the cooking.
You're cooking for him out of love, and you're giving him what he wants. But I need you to give him what he needs, not what he wants.
But Cheryl finds that hard. Even though Ricky needs an oxygen machine to keep him going, he's still able to dominate his wife.
He'll say something like, "It's my life. If I want to eat this much, let me eat."
This time next year, you could be with him. You get a calendar out, and for every day past 365 days, you're lucky. Anytime you put something on this stove, you think, am I taking one of those days away?
The onus is now on Ricky, with Cheryl's help, to start losing weight, while Angie returns to Texas to see if she can find a way of getting Ricky to America for surgery.
In Ricky's situation, that's it. Look for health through surgery, or dying in your bed.
Guam has a population of 180,000. 6 out of 10 adults here are overweight or obese. The indigenous Chamorros are a thick-set people with a diet to match. Despite Angie's appeal to Cheryl to stop feeding her husband the wrong food, she still comes here to buy Ricky's favorite Chamorro meals.
Ricky loves banana lumpia. It's bananas wrapped in spring roll wrapper and deep fried, and drizzled with a little bit of caramelized sugar.
Cheryl has never refused me. If I want it, she doesn't have the heart to say no to me.
When it comes to food, and when Ricky wants something, he'll keep going on and on and on and on and on until I finally give it to him. It's very hard because I am his wife. Can I control his eating habits? No, I can't.
Thank you. But it's too much of this kind of food that has got Ricky into his present state. Though Ricky is half Chamorro, as a small child, he seemed a pretty normal size.
One, I believe, when I was 2, on my little worm thingy car.
His mother and two sisters live nearby. It's a heavyweight family.
My mom showed her affections to us through food. And the kind of foods that I loved them. I didn't care. I didn't think, it was bad. And we didn't think about that.
Now Ricky says, see what you did to me? You fed me the tomorrow away. And I think that's what started Ricky, because eating heavy food when he was little.
By the time Ricky was a teenager, his weight was already ballooning towards 200 pounds. That's over 14 stone.
I always thought that I was punished. When I go to school, I used to hate it because they used to always tease me. Fatso, piggy. It really takes a toll on you. And this picture, I was 19. I was like 320. I'm not exactly sure. I was scared of the scale.
From his early 20s, Ricky suffered increasingly from depression and was eating for comfort.
And here's Ricky, 26.
Oh yeah, about 26.
He was about 26 years old.
Ricky became a nightclub bouncer. He fell into bad company and started taking illegal drugs. He thought it would help him lose weight, but it was when he came off drugs that his weight exploded. By 30, he weighed 500 pounds. That's 35 stone.
I stopped using drugs, and then I ended up starting to eat more.
And by the time he met Cheryl in 2004, he topped 700 pounds, 50 stone.
When Ricky and I got together, he was already a big man. So when he asked me to marry him, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah, it would be a medical situation.
In Houston, Angie is finding it hard to convince an airline to fly a passenger the size of Ricky.
I've talked to several airlines, and how do you transport a man that weighs almost a half a ton? But I can tell you, if we don't get him over here, he will die.
But Angie has persuaded Dr. Duke Vuong to travel with her to Guam to examine Ricky. As a refugee from Vietnam, he knows what it's like to struggle against the odds.
Ricky's story is a lot like my own story. I feel quite strongly that he and I will be able to relate to each other in terms of being poor with limited resources and limited opportunities. And I feel a lot of kinship with him to that regard, that he's trapped. And I'd like to see if I can offer Ricky help. The key is to get Ricky in a safe position to have surgery. And that doesn't mean just make him lose weight. That really means improving, empowering, strengthening him, prove to him that he can do it, that it's up to him, the choice is up to him.
Nearly a year after Angie's first visit to Guam, she's back on the island, this time with Dr. Vuong. Driving from the airport, it's clear Guam is supersized.
Well, look.
They know they have a tough job.
That is a sign that Guam is having a huge problem. They're overweight.
At home, Guam's most overweight man is getting anxious. He knows he's going to get weighed again, and he also knows he weighs more than when he last saw Angie 11 months ago.
I'm really scared now.
I think it's difficult for him to make changes because he doesn't have a good system in place. You know, he doesn't...
Well, this is where we're going to disagree, though, Angie. But at some point, he has to do it himself. We can talk about systems and supports, but it doesn't matter until he makes that change himself.
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, honey. How are you?
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, too.
First thing is to get Ricky onto the scales.
Get up.
Good.
Hold on.
Getting off the bed is almost beyond him.
Let's turn on the fan and turn on the air. You get it nice and cool.
Ricky, take your time.
You're just barely on. I don't want to push this.
One more time. See what you get after.
Yeah, this is your last.
To get upright, he needs to lean against the furniture, but that ends up taking some of his weight.
That's good. That's fine.
At last, he manages to register 700 pounds, but no one believes that's accurate. Ricky has failed to lose any weight.
You want to beat me up?
I'm upset and I feel really bad for Ricky. He didn't accomplish what he wanted to. In fact, I think he gained weight. In fact, I know he gained weight. I don't know if he's committed.
I kind of want to understand what's fueling you.
It's hard, you know.
No, it's easy.
No, it's hard being stuck here.
I
It's
understand.
hard when I can't go nowhere. It's hard when I'm so depressed.
I understand.
I'm being stuck in this bed every single day. Every single day, I can't even get up and walk. I can't even shower. I can't even do nothing for myself.
I understand. I know it's tough. And I know you feel like you've been working it. But I'm here to tell you, you've been doing it all wrong, Betty.
Can we take a little break first? I need to cool off my head. I'm really getting hot.
Let's turn the fan on. You want the fan back on, Ben?
Yeah, please.
Dr. Vuong is getting nowhere with Ricky, but he knows Cheryl has an important role in Ricky's future. He needs to find out exactly what she feeds him.
Let's see. And I'm going to try some of this stuff, so I want you to give me your best stuff, okay? Hot chili peppers.
Hot chili peppers.
Yep.
What the hell are you eating?
Yeah, I know.
Chicken bites. For...
Not real chicken.
No.
Is that good for you?
No.
Is that good for Ricky?
No.
My hope was to show him your improvement, be able to put you in a hospital, and get your ass home with me.
Cheryl is caught in an impossible position between the medical advice about what to feed Ricky and the demands of her husband. But Dr. Vuong's message is about more than food.
You gotta change your thinking. And if you continue to think, I'm helpless, I can't do it, I need someone else to do it for me, you're not gonna get anywhere. It's up to you, Cheryl. It's up to Ricky. You guys got to do it. Can we do it?
We can do it.
Shake?
Unless Ricky and Cheryl embrace a completely new mindset and lifestyle, they will both remain trapped by Ricky's obesity.
Pretty tough. Be all right. It's foolish for us to think that we would make a difference in his life by doing surgery at this point. The only difference we'd really make is that we would kill him.
Dr. Vuong and Angie know how hard it'll be for Ricky and Cheryl to cope on their own. They're desperate to find help for them on Guam. They want to check out a special unit on the island where Ricky's eating could be closely monitored ahead of surgery.
Today we're here to see about getting care for Ricky, our patient who's 800 pounds.
We don't have an organized weight loss program on Guam.
We've been trying for over a year and a half now to try to get him to lose weight on his own at home. So we'd like to find another option to try to get him in a more of a controlled environment.
Physically caring for someone at 800 pounds is a huge undertaking. You know, it would take 3, 4 people to turn him from side to side. You understand, this would be a major healthcare commitment to alter his weight.
Despite this, Dr. Steele is prepared to consider admitting Ricky to the unit and shows Dr. Vuong and Angie a room where he might stay.
I would tell you just to put a big king-size mattress low on the ground. That's what he stays on at home anyway.
How many months do you anticipate it would be before you can get a significant increase in mobility?
How good's your team?
Well, they're excellent. They're 100%.
All right. I mean, that's kind of the holdup. I mean, we need a dedicated people to really make a difference in this man. Because I'm going to tell you, he's motivated. His wife is motivated. They want to make a change. They just need a little bit of help.
Well,
and
we have a
find
very
structured
motivated
way.
staff here.
Perfect.
So that would be complimentary. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's good, huh?
Real good.
All right.
Great meeting.
For the first time, Angie and Dr. Vuong think they're making progress.
I think we have an opportunity I was very excited to meet Dr. Steele, to have an advocate in the actual setting where he's going to be. I think that's key. That's the key how to get these things started.
Angie still hopes that once Ricky has lost weight, she can get him to America. But if Ricky is unable to fly, can he be shipped by sea? She knows it's a long shot, but she's at the docks on Guam to find out.
My goal is to get him off this island, and I don't know how.
Okay. Yeah, it is possible. We ship just about everything. I don't think it's ever been done before. You could actually give him a door-to-door service if you've modified a container for a livable space. We could possibly put him right there in that position, but you have the possibility of being able to get in and out and cater to the gentleman.
He would have to have medical staff with him.
Having a passenger in an emergency situation, I would have to clear that, of course.
Oh, yeah. This would be a real humanitarian thing.
It's not simple, though. The shipping route from Guam would take Ricky via China before arriving in California. It's a tough haul.
It's a 24-day voyage. Then I've got to take him across the United States to Texas. So, it's still a lot of work.
With the options for getting Ricky to America narrowing, Angie and Dr. Wong at least have good news for Ricky about the special nursing unit.
Hello?
But they discovered that Ricky has decided to put himself back on antidepressants. Dr. Wong isn't happy. It suggests Ricky's not prepared to sign up to his plan.
Why were you taking this medicine?
I was depressed.
Okay, but I didn't tell you to take an antidepressant.
But I noticed when I was on it, my cravings was not as bad, so that's why I used it.
You've been trying to do it your way for years now.
Wait, you're going ahead of yourself, and I'm getting angry right now. Okay, I'm sorry. Can I just finish what I'm saying?
Sure.
Okay, the whole reason why I have started this whole thing was...
I do it to stay sharp. I take care of my body, but it's harder to work out my brain. Well, Lumosity.com is based on neuroscience, and it just seems like games.
Because there was nothing on island, and I was seeking help off island.
I'm going to stop you real quick, Ricky. And so let me say this. Through Angie's help, we've initiated a lot of resources and time and energy and money and effort to come here and help you. You either need to decide you're going to keep trying to do it your way or you're going to do it our way. Well, Angie, why don't you tell him I'm going to step out.
No, forget it, man. Forget it. Turn on the fan, please, babe.
Ricky's outburst is the clearest sign yet that he lacks the commitment to lose weight now. Dr. Wong's plan to get Ricky into the skilled nursing unit, let alone into surgery, looks less and less likely.
You're staying on island. We're going to get you in a location that will take care of you.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's
okay.
And we need you to start doing your part. And doing your part means you've got to lose weight.
I'll do my part. She'll do her part.
Cheryl. What's wrong?
My husband needs help. He cannot die on me. I need it.
With Angie and Dr. Wong now returning to America, surgery still seems as far away as ever. It's desperate times for Cheryl and Ricky. It's 3 months since Angie and Dr. Wong left Guam, telling Ricky he must lose up to 150 pounds, more than 10 stone, before he could be considered ready for life-saving surgery. Ricky's hoping he'll be admitted to a local clinic, where his eating will be closely monitored. Dr. John Steele, the man who runs the clinic, has decided to gauge the size of the problem for himself.
Well, you're a big fellow.
Yes.
How about his hygiene? One's overwhelmed as soon as you see him with his sheer size. How about standing? Are you able to stand?
He's far bigger than anyone Dr. Steele's unit has treated before, but he understands the difficulties Ricky and Cheryl are facing.
We have a good feeling about you and the problem that you've had for this long time, and the fact that you haven't been able to control it, you and your wife. How is your diet regulated?
We have actually a habit that is kind of hard to break.
Okay. If we can separate them away from their home, that setting and that habit, then I would hope that he'd be able to follow a diet, a sensible diet, that would begin his weight loss.
Ricky's future now hangs on a meeting of all the healthcare workers involved in his case. Cheryl is attending in person, and Ricky will be on an internet link.
He, of course, cannot search his own foods, so that he's fed by his wife.
It's their last chance to appeal directly to Dr. Steele to allow Ricky to be admitted immediately to his unit.
He's a little uncertain as to what lies ahead, and he really looks to us at SNU as his salvation.
Ricky has the support of his social worker.
If he gets turned down, Ricky might go into this depression again and start losing that hope that we need to give to our patients. You know, let him do it. Give him that chance. Give him that opportunity. Don't push him down even further.
Dr. Steele proposes a comprehensive program to help Ricky and Cheryl, but then he drops a bombshell on them. Ricky must lose weight before he's allowed into the unit.
I'd suggest that maybe a weight loss of 100 pounds could be a beginning. You're just too big for entry into skilled nursing. We understand that it's a disappointment to you.
Yes, it is.
You know, it's going to need an effort from you, from your wife, from many other people who are here at this meeting today to begin your weight loss at your home.
All Ricky's attempts to lose weight so far have failed. He sees this as just another delay in getting the help he needs. It's a devastating blow.
If I don't get that help, I'm gonna die. I've been through so much.
You will have more support. You will have different foods and an exercise program. I have the feeling that this is going to work.
But Ricky doesn't see it that way. Once again, it's all down to him and Cheryl. It's a burden they feel increasingly unable to bear.
All I see is empty promises. One step forward, 10,000 steps back.
Another 6 months have passed. Ricky has still not lost sufficient weight to get into the special clinic. But at home, there are major changes. Ricky is moving into his own room. It'll give him and Cheryl more living space.
Essentially, I don't have privacy. I'm a big person, and sometimes, you know, when I lie down exposed.
A wall has been knocked down and double doors built, so in an emergency, Ricky can be moved out quickly and safely. Local firefighters are called in to do the heavy lifting.
Once we got to the scene, I wasn't prepared for it. Yeah. Then we had to improvise because a lot of the equipment we had is pretty much useless.
Lift.
Came up with a plan, just using his own mattress and a couple ropes as we used for slings, and just got the men underneath him, and good old-fashioned manpower, we were able to pull it off, you know, without causing any stress on Ricky.
All right, Rick, use your legs.
If it takes this much effort to get Ricky into the next room, how can he possibly be transported to America? It's a move that could kill him. It's now nearly 2 years since Angie first went to Guam. She's finally given up any chance of getting Ricky to America. The long journey is too dangerous by plane or sea. Undeterred, she has another plan for Ricky.
If I can't get him to the U.S., the next logical place to take him is to Australia.
Brisbane, Australia is just a 4-hour flight from Guam, a quarter the distance to America, and one of the world's leading obesity surgeons works here. George Hopkins has performed thousands of operations of the kind that Ricky needs.
In the super obese patient, this lead gastrectomy, most people in this subspecialty would agree that that's the best option, because it dramatically reduces gastric capacity whilst having very few follow-up issues that could complicate life. And certainly a patient like Ricky, that would be the operation that I would offer. There you go. So that's how much of the stomach we've taken out. And essentially, that's why it works. I regard obesity as an issue a little bit like alcoholism. No one at Alcoholics Anonymous ever says you're cured, and I think the very same applies to obesity.
If Ricky can't be moved to Dr. Hopkins' operating theatre in Australia, he has another radical plan.
We can consider the surgical team going to the local area. Now, there are certain advantages with the surgical team going to the local area, because obviously, one, the logistics of transport of the patient are reduced.
But Dr. Hopkins has a busy operating schedule. It'll be months before he can leave for Guam. It's a frustrating time for Ricky and Cheryl.
There's no word to explain how sick and tired I am of things not moving as quickly as it's supposed to.
I'm surprised that she's was around this long. I mean, every other person would have left. Every other person would have just wouldn't even deal with it. I need to lie down, I'm hurting. Ow!
3 months later, George Hopkins and his anaesthetist, David Trappett, arrive on Guam. This could be Ricky's last chance to get the surgery he needs. But they have an uncompromising message for him.
These surgical interventions have their risks, which include death.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to offer to do something unless we think the risk is acceptable, but he and his wife have got to be willing to accept that risk as well.
I think David would agree with me that probably expecting you to live beyond 45, 50 at your current rate of weight gain is unlikely. So we are doing this to literally save your life.
That's one of the reasons why I want to try and do something.
Yeah.
Because for myself, for my wife, and for my future.
Yeah.
Dr. Hopkins gets Ricky to stand so he can examine him more easily. And he does.
1 second.
It's the first sign that at last, after 2 years, Ricky just might be losing some weight. But is his body up to the rigours of surgery?
The question is whether there may or may not be a hernia in.
It's hard and so there's been hard for a long time.
That hardness is just the weight and the sag. What I want to do, Ricky, is just feel where I can, if I can feel your rib cage. A lot of your weight falls off down here so that hopefully I can get access to your stomach above what we call your apron. Lean as far forward as you can, mate. You actually don't appear to have any breakdown in the skin under there. Are there any areas that the skin's bloody and angry?
No.
It's all intact?
Can you open your mouth for me as wide as you possibly can?
Ricky's size and especially his inability to breathe easily present special dangers for the anaesthetist, who has to keep him alive through surgery.
65 centimetres, at least about 85 centimetres across.
You actually look healthier than I was expecting. I am more optimistic now than I was 15 minutes ago by just looking at you. I think he has a solvable problem, and we need to start sorting it.
Look, Ricky's the biggest challenge I've ever seen, but I think with a whole lot of work and a whole lot of cooperation from a lot of people, we might be able to do something for him.
Dr. Hopkins knows that trying to transport Ricky to Australia is a last resort. He wants to carry out Ricky's surgery on Guam, if at all possible. He needs to investigate the local hospital to see if it's up to taking a patient the size of Ricky.
Transferring this guy is going to be a really big deal. What we've done on one occasion in Australia is do the operation on a bariatric bed that is pre-op, op, and off to ICU.
Well, for us, we would have to, because we have no other beds that he would fit.
Okay, well, that's
so
a
that
pretty...
bed would have to be that way.
From the surgeons that I met, the anaesthetists that we've met, they are all essentially on board that this is a doable project.
This is one of the biggest ones, so if you did do the surgery...
We have logistical issues still to factor in, but this hospital is capable of doing this procedure.
Nice meeting you. I think there's people here who think that they're going to get something out of it as well. Yep. And a transfer of expertise and knowledge to help them do something long-term for the people of Guam.
Dr. Hopkins returns to Ricky and Cheryl with the good news about the hospital.
Hello, Ricky. We're back.
But before he'll consider surgery, he wants an undertaking from them, and it's not a new one.
We need a concerted commitment from you guys that you will reduce your intake and improve your mobility over the next few months. Cheryl, you tell me what you think, but the brutal truth is that you provide him with his foodstuffs. We need you to understand this as well as Ricky, and I know Ricky asks for and eats what you give him.
I'm the one that's preparing everything. I'm the one that's shopping. I'm the one that does everything.
Yeah.
So ultimately, if it fails, it's my failure. It's a weight that's weight on my shoulders.
It's both
that's
of you.
That's why. See, it's not both of us. If you really, really look at it, it's not the both of us. It's me.
Just you.
It's just me.
Dr. Hopkins issues an ultimatum.
It's got to start here. I mean, if you tell me it can't, that's fine, but we're gone. David and I are basically saying to you that we will come back if we get confirmation that you can walk 20 feet. We need to get your weight down 150 pounds. Do you think you could achieve that?
Ricky has heard this all before. It's the same demand that everyone else has made.
I've always been committed to try and do what I need to do. The only problem is that every time I try to do what I need to do, I always get accused of not doing it.
I think you need to turn to Cheryl and say, Cheryl, I need your help, but this has got to be driven by you. Okay?
Cheryl, though, has had enough. She's exhausted, and it seems to her that she's getting the blame again.
Cheryl, you happy with that?
It's whatever. I really don't care. I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
I'm honestly not sure whether those two are going to be able to achieve what we need them to achieve. Clearly we've upset Cheryl. I'm a surgeon and not a social worker, and we're going to need to get them help to get them ready for surgery. He may never be ready for surgery.
The Australian doctors return home. For more than 6 months, they wait for news that Ricky is losing weight, while they try to get the necessary license to operate on Guam. Then, one night, Cheryl makes a call to the emergency services.
He's not responding to me.
So, do you feel a pulse? It was okay. I don't know what happened. I was just laying here.
It's 2.5 years since Angie's first visit to Guam, and 6 months since Dr. Hopkins flew back to Australia. He's still waiting to hear if Ricky has lost weight. Ricky is waiting for news about his surgery. The strain was too much for Cheryl. She moved out. Then, 3 weeks later, she returned to discuss the state of their marriage.
I went back to try to work it out.
There was a lot of things that was wrong in our marriage. Communication was one. Ricky and I had separate rooms. We did not sleep in the same quarters. I sacrificed a life to have children. It really took a toll on our relationship. I love him. He loves me. I know that because we kept saying that to each other that whole day. I love him, yes, but I wasn't in love with him anymore.
Cheryl told Ricky she was leaving for good. They argued. Cheryl says Ricky took some pills and stopped breathing. She instantly called 911.
He took pills.
He took pills? Okay, Miss Naputi. Do you feel a pulse?
No.
When was the last time you saw him awake and breathing?
He was okay. I don't know what happened. I was just laying here.
Is there any way where you can start pumping on his chest?
Let me try to bring him back the way I had it.
Try pumping to help your husband, okay?
Cheryl tried CPR for 10 minutes or more.
I can't get him back.
Naputi, are they there?
Yeah.
When the emergency services arrived, they tried for nearly an hour to revive Ricky, but without success. Ricky was pronounced dead an hour and a half after Cheryl had called 911.
I already knew he was not coming back, but I didn't want them to stop. I was hoping that he would come back.
A memorial service for Ricky was held in the local Catholic church.
Now he's in a good place and he has all the food he wants and he's with his family,
Angie Flores, who'd worked with Ricky over a 4-year period, flew to Guam to be with his family.
Glad to see you're doing well.
You know what else started with you?
I truly thought the next time I would be here was to get Ricky off this island and get him the help he needed, not to come back for his funeral services.
In Brisbane, Australia, the man who might have saved Ricky still believes surgery was his only escape from his obesity.
I was terribly upset on a personal level. And to be honest, this is a chap who I met who I made a pact with that I would try to help him. Ricky died, ultimately, of his obesity-related condition, which was a quagmire he'd got himself into where he could no longer essentially live as a normal person.
At Ricky's funeral, most of his family were there. But Cheryl decided to stay away.
Our Father who made him.
The very main reason that I didn't make it to his funeral was I already made peace with Ricky. Already made peace with him. I grieve in my own time behind closed doors,
With no one considered responsible for Ricky's death, no autopsy was carried out. The official cause of death was morbid obesity.
I do hope that he'll be able to help, other people with his same problems that he has, and they'll try to get the same help that Ricky tried to get, and hopefully they will end their journey in a good way.
If we put the story out, maybe people would start looking and thinking, and then they take a look around, oh my God, we're all in this category. So it'll be nice that families can actually be educated.
Ricky's not by any stretch an isolated case. It really did seem obvious to me that the morbid obesity rate in Guam was really quite exceptionally high. Everywhere we looked, in fact, there were people who would fit my criteria for surgical intervention. You've got to intervene before people become immobile and so obviously on a course of destruction.
Obesity is a disease, and we need more help for people who are suffering like Ricky, and I hope his story and his journey helps someone else.